The vote was unanimous. For the first time in galactic history, all 734 species in the Galactic Council agreed on something. They voted to end the quarantine and formally request human assistance. Council Speaker Vextar's voice shook as he made the official announcement. The Galactic Council acknowledges our error and humbly requests immediate humanitarian assistance from humanity. The word humbly was particularly difficult for him to say. The proud arachnid had never imagined he would bow to any species, especially the humans he had dismissed as dangerous primitives just days before. But reality had a way of crushing pride. As he spoke, the life support systems on Nexus Station were operating at only 40% efficiency. The great symbol of galactic unity was slowly dying from the inside. Within hours of the Council's vote, human ships began appearing throughout the galaxy. They did not come as conquerors or with weapons drawn. They came as repair crews, medical teams, and engineers. Captain Insu's flagship, the Harmony Builder, arrived at Nexus Station first. The human commander stood on his bridge, looking at the massive structure that housed the galactic government. Parts of it were already going dark as power systems failed. Docking request granted, came the transmission from station control. The alien voice sounded exhausted and defeated. Insu brought with him 50 technical specialists and enough equipment to restore basic systems throughout the station. But he also brought something more important: terms for a new relationship between humanity and the galaxy. I am authorized to provide immediate emergency assistance, Insu told the assembled council delegates as human technicians spread throughout the station. However, Director Wu Jin has asked me to present certain conditions for long-term cooperation. The delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They had expected humans to simply fix everything and return to the old relationship. Instead, it seemed humanity had other plans. Council Speaker Vextar tried to sound authoritative. What are these conditions? Insu activated a holographic display showing organizational charts and governmental structures. The current system of galactic government has proven inadequate for managing complex technological infrastructure. Too many critical decisions are made by beings who do not understand the systems they are governing. There were angry mutters from some delegates, but Insu continued calmly. Humanity proposes the creation of a new galactic infrastructure authority. This organization will be responsible for maintaining all critical systems that affect multiple worlds: communication networks, transportation routes, emergency response systems, and technological standards. And who will lead this authority? Asked Kilmoth, his cracked crystalline body reflecting his people's desperate situation. Human administrators, advised by technical experts from all species, Insu replied. Decisions about infrastructure will be made by those who understand how it actually works, not by political committees. The implications were staggering. Humanity was not asking to join the existing power structure. They were proposing to fundamentally change how the galaxy was governed. This is unacceptable, declared the representative from Korthak. You would make yourselves rulers of the galaxy through technical control. Insu's expression remained calm. Look around you, delegate. Your lights are failing. Your air recyclers are breaking down and your communication systems barely function. You are free to reject our proposal and find another solution. The harsh reality was that there was no other solution. Only humanity had the knowledge and infrastructure to fix the crisis and prevent it from happening again. Young He, the human chief negotiator, stepped forward. We are not seeking to rule anyone. The Galactic Council will continue to handle laws, trade disputes, cultural affairs, and diplomatic relations between species. But technical infrastructure must be managed by technical experts. Over the next several hours, as human repair teams restored basic systems throughout Nexus Station, the Council debated the proposal. Some delegates argued passionately against giving humans so much control. Others pointed out that they had no realistic choice. The breakthrough came when Dr. Melthar arrived from the medical world of Andros. The exhausted healer had traveled to Nexus Station to personally thank the humans who had saved her patients. I have been a doctor for 40 years, she told the assembled delegates. I thought I understood medicine, but in the past week, I learned that my nanobots only worked because of human algorithms I never knew existed. My patients are alive today because human medical expert Su Jin shared her knowledge with my staff. She looked around the chamber at the uncomfortable delegates. You debate about pride and control while beings die. I care only about saving lives. If humans can help me save more lives, then I support any arrangement that makes that possible. Her words carried weight because everyone knew the medical crisis had been one of the worst aspects of the collapse. If the healers supported the human proposal, it would be difficult for others to oppose it. Gradually, practical voices began to overcome prideful ones. The Nexari, who had lost hundreds of ships, admitted they needed human navigation expertise. The Veltari, facing starvation on dozens of worlds, accepted that their agricultural systems required human management algorithms. Even proud General Mordak acknowledged that Vorthan defenses were useless without human optimization programs. The Imar final vote was not unanimous, but it was decisive. 623 species in favor, 111 opposed. The Galactic Infrastructure Authority was officially created, with Director Wu Jin as its first administrator. But the real change was happening not in the council chambers, but throughout the galaxy, as human repair teams brought systems back online. On the agricultural world of Veltar, Engineer Boram worked alongside local farmers to restart the automated systems that fed billions. She patiently explained how the AI algorithms worked and trained Veltari technicians to maintain them properly. Why did your people help us for so long without taking credit? Asked Farmer Nolvash as they watched his irrigation systems come back to life. Boram smiled. Because the work needed to be done. Does it matter who does it, as long as the crops grow and people have food? On the communication network nodes throughout the galaxy, human technicians worked with Zephyrian engineers to rebuild and improve the galactic internet. Zilkoth, the Zephyrian chief technician, was amazed at how much he learned from the humans. Your algorithms are like poetry, he told human programmer Sung Min. They solve problems I did not even know existed. Wait until you see the new protocols we've developed, Sung Min replied. The old system was patched together over decades. We can build something much better now that we're working openly together. The integration was not always smooth. Some species resented having to follow human technical standards. Others complained that the new systems were too complex for them to understand. But the results spoke for themselves. Transportation networks that had been failing for days were soon running better than they had in years. Medical systems not only returned to full function, but became more effective as human doctors shared their knowledge openly. Agricultural worlds not only restored their food production, but learned techniques that increased yields by 30%. On Earth, Director Wu Jin met with his senior staff to review the first month of the new system. Resistance to the changes? He asked. Minimal and decreasing, reported Junseo. Most species are too grateful for the restored systems to complain about new management structures. The ones that do complain usually change their minds quickly when they see the improvements. Any major problems? Chief Engineer Young Hee consulted her reports. The biggest challenge is training. Many species have been relying on automated systems for so long that they've forgotten how they actually work. We're having to educate entire generations of technicians. Good, Wu Jin said. That's exactly what we should be doing. The goal is not to make them dependent on us forever, but to raise the overall level of technical knowledge across the galaxy. This was the key insight that separated humanity from other species. Where others saw problems as reasons to exclude or control, humans saw problems as opportunities to educate and improve. Cultural liaison. Yan Wu reported on the social aspects of integration. Most species are adapting well to working with human technical teams. There have been some cultural misunderstandings, but nothing we cannot work through. The younger generation of aliens especially seems eager to learn human problem-solving techniques. 6 months later, the transformation was remarkable. The galaxy, that had been on the verge of collapse, was now running more efficiently than it had in centuries. But more importantly, the relationship between species had fundamentally changed. Instead of the old system where each species jealously guarded its technology and knowledge, a new culture of cooperation and shared learning was emerging. Human engineers worked alongside alien specialists not as masters and servants, but as teachers and students learning from each other. The Galactic Council still existed and still handled political matters, but the real power in the galaxy now rested with the technical experts who kept everything running. And at the center of that network, humanity served not as rulers, but as coordinators, making sure all the pieces fit together smoothly. 1 year after the quarantine crisis, while the galaxy burned, humanity was preparing. In the Human Coordination Center on Earth, Director Wu Jin stood before a massive display showing the status of human colonies across the galaxy. Unlike the alien worlds shown in red warning lights, every human settlement glowed steady green. "Report," Wu Jin commanded as his senior staff gathered for the morning briefing. Lead analyst Yoon Seo stepped forward with her data tablet. "All human colonies are operating at full capacity. Food production is up 12% from pre-quarantine levels. Communication networks between human worlds are working perfectly. Transportation is running ahead of schedule." "And our hidden monitoring systems?" Wu Jin asked. "Still functioning," reported communications specialist Haewon. "We can observe the entire galaxy, though we cannot send signals through official channels. The situation continues to worsen. We're tracking over 15,000 system failures across alien space." Jun Seo, the head of emergency response teams, gave the military report. "All defense systems are operational. Our ships are ready to deploy within 6 hours if needed. The construction projects you authorized are ahead of schedule." Wu Jin nodded with satisfaction. For years, he and other human leaders had known this day might come. They had prepared, carefully, building redundant systems and backup networks that could operate independently of alien infrastructure. "Show me the Galaxy project status," Wu Jin requested. The main display changed to show a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy. Thousands of small symbols marked human installations, not just the official colonies that the aliens knew about, but hidden monitoring stations, emergency supply depots, and backup communication relays. "The network is complete," reported Chief Engineer Young Hee. "Every major space route has at least one human monitoring station within 12 hours travel time. We can provide assistance to any location in the galaxy within 48 hours. This was humanity's greatest secret. For decades, they had been quietly building a shadow infrastructure across the galaxy. While aliens saw human expansion as aggressive and chaotic, it was actually a carefully planned network designed to help maintain galactic stability. Every human trader, engineer, diplomat, or colonist had been part of this larger plan. They had mapped alien systems, documented technical problems, and identified critical points where failure could cause cascading crises. "And are people embedded in alien territories?" Wu Jin asked. 8,000 humans are currently on alien worlds," Jun Seo replied. "Most are maintaining their cover while providing indirect assistance. Some have reported being pressured by local authorities to help directly." "Any casualties?" 3 humans have been injured in system failures, but none killed. "Our people are following emergency protocols and avoiding dangerous situations." Wu Jin felt relief at that news. Every human life was precious, and he worried constantly about his people trapped on alien worlds during the crisis. The door to the briefing room opened, and Captain In Su entered. The military commander looked tired, but determined as he saluted. "Director Wu Jin." "Sir, the fleet is ready for deployment," In Su reported. 200 ships fully stocked with repair equipment, medical supplies, and technical teams. "We can reach any troubled system within the galaxy in less than 4 days. "Any word from the Galactic Council?" Wu Jin asked. Haewon shook her head. "Still arguing among themselves. Some species are reaching out to us individually through hidden channels, but no official request for assistance." Wu Jin studied the galactic display, watching as more systems changed from green to yellow to red. The cascade of failures was accelerating. Soon the damage would be so severe that even human intervention could not prevent massive loss of life. "Sir," said Yoon Seo quietly, I need to report something important. Our analysis suggests the galactic crisis will reach a point of no return in approximately 18 hours. After that, we estimate that billions of beings will die even if we intervene. The room fell silent. Everyone understood the implications. They could not wait much longer for the council to ask for help. What are our options? Wu Jin asked. Chief Negotiator Young He stepped forward. We have prepared 3 scenarios, sir. Option 1. Continue waiting for an official council request, but prepare for massive humanitarian intervention if they wait too long. Option 2. Wu Jin prompted. Begin limited assistance to individual species that request help, working around the council entirely. This would save more lives but might make the council more stubborn about admitting their mistake. And option 3? Young He hesitated. Unilateral intervention. We break the quarantine ourselves and begin repairs immediately, whether the council agrees or not. This would save the most lives but could be seen as an invasion. Wu Jin considered all 3 options. Each had serious consequences, but the cost of inaction was becoming impossible to accept. There is a 4th option, he said slowly. We force the council to confront the truth. His staff looked confused. Sir? Asked Yunseo. Wu Jin turned to communications specialist Haiwan. Can we send a signal that reaches every communication device in the galaxy simultaneously? Yes, sir, but it would require using our hidden relay network. It would reveal the existence of our shadow infrastructure. Good, Wu Jin said firmly. It's time they understood what they're really dealing with. Prepare a galaxy-wide broadcast. While the staff rushed to prepare the broadcast, Wu Jin walked to his private office. On his desk was a small picture of his daughter, Su Jin, who worked as a doctor on the medical world of Andros. She was one of the humans trapped on alien worlds, watching beings die because she could not officially help them. He also thought about the millions of alien beings who were suffering not because of anything they had done, but because their leaders were too proud to admit they needed help. The decision was clear, even if it was painful. An hour later, every communication device in the galaxy, from the Grand Council chambers to simple farmers' radios, received the same signal simultaneously. It was impossible to block, impossible to ignore, and definitely not supposed to exist. Director Wu Jin's image appeared on screens across hundreds of worlds. He looked calm and professional, but his message was revolutionary. Citizens of the galaxy, he began. I am Director Wu Jin of the Human Coordination Authority. For the past 5 days, your leaders have maintained a communication quarantine against humanity. Today, I break that silence. On Nexus Station, Council Speaker Vextar stared at his communication screen in shock. The signal was coming through, on channels that should have been impossible for humans to access. We know you are suffering, Wu Jin continued. Your ships are lost in space. Your food systems are failing. Your medical equipment cannot help your sick and injured. Your communication networks are collapsing. This is not our fault, and it is not sabotage. Across the galaxy, beings stopped what they were doing to listen to the human leader. For decades, humanity has quietly helped maintain the systems that keep your civilization running. We wrote software to make your ships navigate safely. We designed algorithms to help your farms grow food efficiently. We created programs to help your medical equipment adapt to different patients. We did this not for payment or recognition, but because we saw problems that needed solving. On the agricultural world of Veltar, Farmer Nolvash sat in his failing control room and listened with growing understanding. When you cut off communication with humanity, you also cut off the updates and maintenance that kept these systems working properly. We are not attacking you, we are simply not helping you anymore. Wu Jin paused, letting that sink in before continuing. Your leaders chose to quarantine humanity because they saw us as dangerous and aggressive. They did not understand that our expansion across the galaxy was not conquest, it was construction. We built a hidden network of monitoring stations and supply depots so we could help maintain galactic stability. The display behind Wu Jin changed to show the true scope of human infrastructure, thousands of hidden installations across the galaxy, all working together to keep civilization functioning smoothly. We offer you a choice, Wu Jin concluded. Your council can officially request our assistance, and we will work together to repair the damage and prevent future crises. Or individual worlds can request help directly, and we will provide it, regardless of council politics. But we will not stand by and watch billions of innocent beings die because of political pride. The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. On Nexus Station, Council Speaker Vextar looked around the chamber at his fellow delegates. The evidence was overwhelming now. Humanity had not been the problem. They had been the solution. But admitting that mistake would change everything about how the galaxy was governed. The choice was no longer whether to contact humanity. The choice was whether to accept a new reality, where humans were not just another species in the galactic community, but the engineers who kept that community running. As emergency reports continued flowing in from across the galaxy, the Council faced the most important vote in galactic history, and in human space, 200 ships loaded with repair equipment and technical teams waited for orders to save a galaxy that had rejected them. The emergency council session began at dawn on the 4th day of quarantine. Council Speaker Vextar looked out at a hall that was only half full. Many delegates could not reach Nexus Station because of transportation failures. The delegates who had arrived looked desperate. Kilmoth's crystalline body was cracked and dim, reflecting the collapse of his people's shared consciousness. Thexanol of the Nexari had deep stress marks around his eyes from watching his trading empire crumble. General Mordak attended by hologram because Vorthan's space was now too dangerous for travel. Report the situation, Vexitar commanded, though his own voice lacked its usual authority. The reports were devastating. The Zephyrian communication network was operating at only 30% efficiency. Nexari trade routes were closed after losing over 200 ships. Medical facilities across the galaxy were reporting critical shortages as their nanobots failed. Food riots had begun on 12 worlds as agricultural systems collapsed. This is clearly a human attack, Kilmoth insisted, his voice crackling, with static as his translation systems failed. They planned this sabotage to force us to beg for their help. How? Demanded Veltari Representative Nolketh. The quarantine is perfect. No human signals are getting through. Our monitoring systems confirm this. General Mordak's hologram flickered as he spoke. I have been investigating our defense system failures. What we found troubles me greatly. The general's image stabilized as he continued. Hidden throughout our military networks are optimization programs we did not write. They are in a human coding language. These programs have been making our defenses more effective for years. A shocked silence filled the hall. Other delegates began accessing their own system reports, and similar discoveries appeared on screen after screen. Transportation networks, communication systems, medical equipment, agricultural AI, all contained human-written code that had been quietly improving performance for years. This is impossible, whispered a delegate from the plant world of Chloros. Our technology is our own. We built these systems ourselves. Did we? Asked Nexari Administrator Thexnol, his voice bitter with realization. Or did we build the basic systems while humans made them actually work well? The terrible truth was spreading through the council chamber. For decades, humans had been quietly solving problems, fixing bugs, and optimizing systems across the galaxy. They had done this work so invisibly that most species never knew it was happening. The aliens had built the hardware, but humans had perfected the software that made it all work together efficiently. Council Speaker Vextar called for order as arguments broke out across the chamber. Some delegates still insisted this was a human trick. Others demanded immediate contact with Earth. A few suggested military action to force humans to help. We cannot appear weak, declared a representative from the warrior world of Korthak. If we beg the humans for help, every species in the galaxy will lose respect for this council. What respect? Thexanol shouted back. Half the galaxy is on fire. My people are starving because our food distribution networks have collapsed. While the council argued, individual species were taking desperate measures. On the mining world of Korvax, Supervisor Morkex had given up on official channels. He cornered Engineer Minho in the facility's cafeteria, going down on his knees in front of the startled human. Please, Morkex begged. I know you are forbidden to help, but my miners are trapped. The safety systems have failed in Tunnel Complex 7. 43 workers will die if we cannot reach them in the next few hours. Minho felt his heart breaking. His orders were clear, but he could not let innocent beings die for politics. I cannot officially help, Minho said carefully. But if you happen to find some technical manuals left in my quarters, and if those manuals happen to contain information about safety system repairs, that would not be my fault. Morkex understood immediately. Within an hour, his engineers were following detailed repair instructions that Minho had accidentally left behind. The trapped miners were saved, but both beings knew this secret could not last long. Similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy. Human engineers, doctors, technicians, and advisors were finding ways to help without technically breaking their orders. They left behind technical manuals, shared coffee with alien colleagues while discussing theoretical problems, or simply looked the other way while aliens observed their work. Su Jin, a human diplomat hidden among the refugees on Station Kepler 7, was coordinating many of these unofficial efforts. Using hidden communication networks, she connected desperate aliens with humans who could provide critical information. Medical emergency on Healer World Andros, she transmitted to Earth. Dr. Kyungmi, are there any theoretical research papers about nanobot adaptation algorithms that might accidentally end up in the station's public database? These small acts of rebellion were saving thousands of lives, but they could not fix the larger collapse of galactic civilization. On Earth, Director Wu Jin was struggling with the most difficult decision of his career. The monitoring systems showed that the galaxy was approaching complete breakdown. Soon, the damage would be so severe that even human intervention could not prevent billions of deaths. Sir, reported analyst Yoon Seo, we are tracking 7 active wars, food shortages affecting over 1 billion beings, and complete communication breakdown in 3 sectors. At current rates of decline, we estimate civilizational collapse within 10 days. What about our people in the field? Wu Jin asked. Many are providing indirect assistance, Junseo replied carefully. They are following the letter of their orders while saving lives where possible. Wu Jin nodded. He was proud of his people for finding ways to help despite their restrictions, but individual acts of kindness could not solve a galactic crisis. Have we received any official contact from the Council? He asked. No, sir. Only desperate messages from individual species. The Council remains paralyzed by internal arguments. Wu Jin walked to the great window overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Earth looked peaceful from here, but he knew that across the galaxy, worlds were burning while politicians argued about pride. Prepare Phase 3 protocols, he decided. If the Council does not act within 24 hours, we will. Sir, that means breaking the quarantine ourselves, Communications Specialist Haiwan pointed out. Yes, Wu Jin said firmly. I will not watch galactic civilization collapse because of political pride. Our duty is to preserve life and order, even if it means disobeying the Council's wishes. Back on Nexus Station, the Council session had devolved into chaos. Delegates were shouting at each other in dozens of languages, while translation systems struggled to keep up. The communication delays made organized debate impossible. Finally, Zilkoth of the Zephyrians stood up. His silver skin had turned almost black with stress, but his voice carried clearly through the chamber. Honored delegates, he said, I must report something that will shock you all. I have spent the last 2 days investigating our communication, network failures. What I found changes everything. The chamber quieted as Zilkoth continued. Our networks are not purely Zephyrian technology. They contain thousands of human-written programs that optimize performance, prevent crashes, and manage data flow. Without these programs receiving updates, our entire communication system is dying. He paused, letting the implications sink in. The humans did not attack us, they were helping us. For years, they were quietly making our technology work better, and we never knew. Similar admissions began coming from other delegates. The Nexari discovered human navigation improvements in their ships. The Veltari found human agricultural algorithms in their farming systems. The healer caste realized their medical nanobots used human-designed adaptation protocols. They were everywhere, whispered Dr. Melthar's representative, helping us, improving our work, solving our problems, and we never asked them to. They just did it. The mood in the chamber began to shift from anger to shame. Slowly, the delegates were understanding what Ambassador Hyun-soo had tried to tell them. They had no idea what they were losing, but pride is a powerful force, and many delegates still resisted the obvious conclusion. Even if this is true, argued the Korthak representative, we cannot simply surrender to human demands. They must have wanted something in return for this help. What did they want? Asked Thexanol quietly. In 20 years of trade relationships, humans never asked for special privileges. They paid fair prices, followed our laws, and solved problems without taking credit. What did they gain from helping us? It was a question that no one could answer, because the truth was uncomfortable for proud species to accept. Humans had helped, simply because they saw problems that needed solving. As the session continued through the night, more evidence arrived. Military analysts reported human optimization code in defense systems. Agricultural experts found human improvements in food distribution networks. Even the station they were meeting on contained human-designed safety protocols that had prevented dozens of accidents over the years. The web of human assistance was so vast and invisible that removing it was causing civilization to collapse, like a building with its foundation suddenly removed. By dawn of the 5th day, even the most stubborn delegates were beginning to understand the truth. But understanding. On the 2nd day of the quarantine, the galaxy's communication network began to die. It started with small delays. Messages that usually took seconds to travel between star systems now took minutes. Video calls between worlds became choppy and unclear. The great network that connected thousands of civilizations was slowing down like an old machine running out of power. Zilkoth, the chief technician of the Zephyrian Communication Authority, stared at his monitoring screens in confusion. His people had built this network over centuries, using their advanced quantum entanglement technology to connect the galaxy instantly. It was their greatest achievement, and it had never failed before. "Sir," called his assistant, a younger Zephyrian, with bright silver skin, "the network lag is getting worse. Some sectors are reporting delays of over an hour for simple messages." "That's impossible," Zilkoth replied, his own skin flashing orange with worry. "Our quantum entanglement nodes cannot lag. They work instantly or not at all." But as he dove deeper into the system diagnostics, Zilkoth discovered something that made his skin turn dark blue with shock. Hidden throughout their original communication protocols were thousands of small programs he had never seen before. These programs managed network traffic, prevented data collisions, and optimized signal routing. The programs were written in a coding language he did not recognize, with comments and notes in what looked like human text. "This cannot be right," Zilkoth whispered. He pulled up more system files, going deeper into the network's core programming. Everywhere he looked, he found human code woven into Zephyrian systems like invisible threads holding a tapestry together. The horrible truth became clear. The Galactic Communication Network was not entirely Zephyrian technology. Humans had quietly contributed essential pieces that made the whole system work efficiently. With human networks blocked by the quarantine, these programs could no longer receive updates or corrections. The communication network was slowly choking on its own data, like a river blocked by fallen trees. On the medical world of Andros, the situation was becoming desperate. Dr. Melthar had lost 3 patients in the last hour, all victims of nanobot failures that should have been easily treatable. "Doctor," her assistant called urgently, "we have 47 critical patients and our nanobots are failing faster than we can replace them." Dr. Melthar felt exhaustion pulling at her. She had not slept in 26 hours, trying to manually treat patients that her nanobots could no longer help. "Contact the Nanobot Fabrication Center," she ordered. "We need new batches with updated programming." But the Fabrication Center had its own problems. The artificial intelligence that designed and programmed their medical nanobots was running into errors it could not solve. For years, this AI had received regular updates and improvements through hidden connections to human research networks. These connections had allowed the AI to learn about new diseases, understand different alien biologies better, and constantly improve its treatment algorithms. Now cut off from this knowledge, the AI was like a doctor who had suddenly forgotten half of medical science. On the distant mining world of Korvax, engineer Minho was breaking his orders for the first time in his career. Minho had been stationed on Korvax for 3 years, officially as a mining consultant, but actually as one of many humans who kept alien technology working properly. He was supposed to maintain complete silence during the quarantine, but he could not watch innocent beings die. The Korvaxian mining platforms were failing one by one, and each failure trapped dozens of workers underground. The safety systems that should have prevented cave-ins and toxic gas leaks were malfunctioning in ways the local engineers could not understand. "Please," begged Morkex, the Korvaxian mine supervisor. "Our people are dying. If you know how to fix these systems, help us." Minho looked at the diagnostic readings and immediately saw the problems. The safety algorithms were based on old data and could not adapt to current mining conditions. He could fix everything in a few hours, but his orders were clear. No assistance. "I'm sorry," Minho said, hating himself for the words. "I cannot help." Morkex's rocky face showed desperate confusion. "But you understand these systems better than anyone. Why won't you help us?" Minho could not explain that helping now would only make the larger problem worse. If he fixed these systems, the Korvaxians would never understand how much they depended on human knowledge. On Earth, the Human Coordination Center was receiving desperate, unofficial messages from across the galaxy. Most came through hidden channels that aliens had discovered. Old emergency frequencies, private networks, even messages hidden in commercial broadcasts. Communications specialist Heywan translated the most urgent messages for Director Wu Jin. From Nexari Prime. "Unknown parties, please help. Our ships are dying. We will pay any price for navigation assistance." From Veltar Agricultural Command. Emergency assistance needed. Food production failing on 17 worlds. Billions may starve. From the healer cast of Andros. Medical. Crisis expanding. Request immediate technical consultation. Lives at risk. Wu Jin listened to message after message, each one more desperate than the last. His heart ached for the suffering beings, but he knew that giving in too early would only ensure this crisis happened again. "Sir?" asked Junseo. "How long do we wait?" "Until they understand," Wu Jin replied. "The Galactic Council voted unanimously to cut us off. They must be the ones to officially ask for help." But the Galactic Council was paralyzed by pride and politics. Emergency sessions were called every few hours, but no one wanted to admit their mistake. "This is clearly a human attack," declared Killmoth, though his crystalline body flickered, weakly as his people's network continued to fail. "They are sabotaging our systems to force us to contact them." "How can they sabotage systems they cannot reach?" demanded Thexanol of the Nexari. "The quarantine blocks all their signals. They must have left hidden programs, time bombs waiting to activate," insisted Veltari Representative Nulketh, even as his world's food production collapsed around him. Council Speaker Vextar tried to maintain order, but even his authority was weakening as communication delays made governing the galaxy nearly impossible. Simple orders that once reached the farthest worlds in minutes now took hours or days to arrive. Some individual council members began reaching out through private channels, but they could not speak for their entire species. The humans had made it clear they would only negotiate with the full council. On the crystal world of Kilmora, the thinking crystal networks finally began their complete collapse. Killmoth felt the last connections to his people's shared consciousness break apart like glass in his mind. For the first time in centuries, each crystal being was alone with their own thoughts. The isolation was terrifying and painful. Many crystals began to crack from the psychological stress of sudden loneliness. Killmoth realized with growing horror that his push for the human quarantine had doomed his own people, but his pride, still, would not let him admit the mistake publicly. Meanwhile, On the agricultural world of Veltar, the automated farming systems were shutting down completely. Farmer Nolvash stood in his fields watching millions of food plants begin to wither and die. The planet's AI systems, cut off from human-designed learning algorithms, could no longer adapt to simple changes in weather, soil conditions, or plant growth patterns. Problems that the AI had solved automatically for years now caused complete system crashes. "We need to evacuate the cities," Agricultural Administrator Velkoth announced during an emergency broadcast. "Food production has dropped by 70%. We cannot feed our population." But evacuation was becoming impossible. The transportation networks were failing too, as navigation systems crashed and communication delays made coordinating large movements extremely dangerous. By the third day of quarantine, the crisis had spread to military systems. The proud Vorthan Empire discovered that their defense grids were full of holes that their ancient enemies, the Krextani raiders, were beginning to exploit. General Mordak watched in disbelief as his impenetrable defense network failed to stop even simple Krextani attacks. Sensor systems that should have detected enemy ships thousands of miles away were giving false readings. Weapon systems that should have targeted automatically were missing completely. "How is this possible?" Mordak demanded from his technicians. These systems were built by Vorthan engineers using Vorthan technology, but investigation revealed human-written optimization programs throughout their military networks. These programs had made Vorthan defenses far more effective than their original design, but they required constant updates to counter new enemy tactics. Without those updates, the Vorthan military was fighting with weapons and strategies that were months out of date. Against adaptive enemies like the Krextani, that was the same as being defenseless. On Earth, analyst Yoon Seo delivered her daily report to Director Wu Jin. System failures now recorded on over 400 worlds. Medical crisis on 27 planets. Food shortages beginning on 16 agricultural worlds. 3 different wars have started as defense systems fail. "And the Council?" Wu Jin asked. "Still debating. Still blaming us for sabotage. Still too proud to ask for help officially." Wu Jin looked at the galactic situation display. 6 hours after the quarantine began, the first ship died. Captain Dolvash of the cargo vessel Starfinder was making a routine jump between trading stations when his navigation computer made a terrible mistake. The quantum calculations that should have taken his ship safely through hyperspace instead sent him toward a massive star. "Emergency!" Dolvash shouted to his crew as alarms screamed throughout the ship. "All power to shields. Reverse engines." His ship barely escaped the star's gravity well. 3 other ships on similar routes were not so lucky. They simply vanished into the burning heart of distant suns. On Nexari Prime, Trade Administrator Thexanol stared at his communication screen in horror. Emergency signals were coming in from across the trading network. Ships were getting lost, navigation computers were failing, and cargo routes that had worked perfectly for decades were suddenly deadly. "How is this possible?" Thexanol demanded, from his chief navigator, a thin alien with multiple eyes. "Sir, our navigation systems use quantum calculations to predict safe hyperspace routes," the navigator explained, his voice shaking. "But something is wrong with the calculation matrices. They are producing dangerous results." "Fix it," Thexanol ordered. "We are trying, sir, but these systems have worked perfectly for 20 years. We do not understand why they are failing now." What the navigator did not know was that the perfect navigation systems were not entirely Nexari technology. Deep in the quantum calculation algorithms were small pieces of human-written code. These pieces automatically updated themselves through hidden network connections to human computers on Earth. For 20 years, human programmers had quietly fixed errors, improved calculations, and updated the software to account for changing space conditions. The Nexari had never noticed because the updates happened automatically and invisibly. Now those connections were blocked by the quarantine. The navigation software was trying to run on calculations that were months out of date. In the dangerous environment of hyperspace, even small errors could be fatal. Within 8 hours of the quarantine, 17 Nexari cargo ships had been destroyed or lost. On the agricultural world of Veltar, farmer Nolvash woke up to find his entire crop in danger. The automated farming systems that managed water, nutrients, and climate control across millions of acres were shutting down one by one. "Emergency at Sector 7, his computer announced in its calm, artificial voice. "Water distribution system offline. Crops will die in 6 hours without irrigation." Nolvash ran to his control station and tried to restart the water system. Nothing happened. He tried the backup systems. They were also offline. Panic began to fill his chest as he realized that without water, 3 million food plants would die by evening. Similar problems were happening across Veltar. The planet's artificial intelligence systems that controlled farming, weather management, and food distribution were failing everywhere. These AI systems were supposed to be original Veltari technology, developed by their best scientists. But buried deep in the AI programming were human-designed learning algorithms. These algorithms helped the AI systems adapt to new situations and solve unexpected problems. Like the navigation software, these algorithms received constant tiny updates from human networks. Without those updates, the AI systems could not handle even simple problems. A blocked irrigation pipe that the system would normally route around became a crisis that shut down entire districts. Engineer Jiwan watched the chaos from her position on Station Beta 7, hidden in the outer rim of the galaxy. She was one of hundreds of humans who worked on alien worlds, usually in technical positions that other species found boring or difficult. For years, Jiwan had quietly fixed problems that the station's alien crew never knew existed. A cooling system that ran too hot, a power generator that had frequency issues, a communication array that needed constant small adjustments. She made these fixes during her regular maintenance shifts, and the alien crew simply thought their equipment was very reliable. Now she could only watch as systems began failing around her. The station's commander, a proud bird-like creature named Kexaval, strutted through the corridors demanding answers from his technical staff. "Why are all these systems breaking at the same time?" Kexaval squawked angrily. His chief technician, a nervous mammal-like alien, checked his diagnostic equipment. "Sir, the systems are not exactly broken. They are just not working as well as usual. Small problems that we cannot seem to fix." "Then fix them," Kexval ordered. But the technician could not fix them, because he did not understand how they had been working so well in the first place. Jiwan had been solving problems before they became serious, preventing failures before they happened, and optimizing systems beyond their original specifications. Jiwan wanted to help, but her orders from Earth were clear. No assistance until the quarantine was lifted. She had to watch systems fail that she could repair in minutes. The worst crisis was developing on the medical world of Andros. The healer caste had built their reputation on miraculous medical nanobots that could cure almost any disease or injury. These tiny robots were injected into patients and automatically repaired damage at the cellular level. Dr. Melthar was treating a patient with severe injuries when her nanobot suddenly stopped working properly. Instead of repairing tissue damage, they began acting randomly, sometimes helping and sometimes making problems worse. "This is impossible," Dr. Melthar muttered as she watched her instruments. "These nanobots have never failed before." She tried a different batch of nanobots on another patient. The same problem occurred. The tiny medical robots seemed confused, unable to adapt to the specific conditions inside each patient. Across Andros, similar failures were happening in every hospital and medical center. Patients who should have been easily cured were getting worse. Some were dying. What the healer caste did not know was that their perfect nanobots relied on adaptive algorithms written by human programmers. These algorithms helped the nanobots learn and adjust to different patient conditions. The algorithms received constant updates about new diseases, different alien biologies, and improved treatment methods. Without those updates, the nanobots could only follow their basic programming. They were like doctors who had forgotten everything they learned after medical school. Back on Earth, Director Wu Jin watched the growing crisis with a heavy heart. His monitoring systems were recording thousands of failures across the galaxy. Transportation networks, food production, medical systems, and communication networks were all beginning to collapse. "Sir," reported analyst Yunseo, "we are seeing Critical failures on 47 worlds. Medical emergencies are being reported on 12 planets. The Nexari have lost 31 ships in the last 8 hours. And the Galactic Council? Wu Jin asked. No official response yet. Some individual species are trying to contact us through unofficial channels, but our orders are to maintain complete communication silence. Wu Jin nodded, though it pained him to watch the suffering. How many humans are trapped on alien worlds? Approximately 8,000, Junseo replied. Most are following orders to provide no assistance, but some are reporting that they are being pressured by local authorities to help fix the problems. Tell them to hold firm, Wu Jin said. If they help now, the aliens will never understand how much they need us. On the crystalline world of Kilmora, Delegate Kilmoth was dealing with his own crisis. The thinking crystal networks that connected his people's minds were experiencing random failures. Crystals that had shared thoughts perfectly for centuries were now producing static, confusion, and painful feedback. Kilmoth himself was suffering. His connection to the greater crystal consciousness kept cutting in and out, leaving him feeling alone and frightened in a way his people rarely experienced. What is happening to us? He asked the network technicians, his crystalline body flickering with distress. Unknown, Honored Delegate, came the reply. The networks are running diagnostic routines, but we cannot find the source of the problems. The technicians did not know that the stability matrices keeping their crystal networks balanced were human-designed. For years, human computer specialists had provided mathematical formulas that prevented feedback loops and network crashes in the delicate crystal systems. Without those formulas being constantly updated and refined, the crystal networks were becoming unstable. Soon they would collapse entirely, leaving Kilmoth's people isolated from each other for the first time in their history. As the second day of quarantine began, the problems were no longer minor technical difficulties. They were becoming a threat to galactic civilization itself. And in the Human Coordination Center on Earth, Wu Jin was beginning to receive the first unofficial, desperate messages from alien worlds. The galaxy was starting to realize what it had lost. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was silent. Hundreds of alien representatives sat in their floating seats waiting for the final vote. The air smelled of different worlds, sweet gases from the plant people, sharp metal scents from the rock beings, and the clean smell of recycled air. Yunsu stood alone at the center of the hall. He was the last human ambassador allowed to speak. His dark suit looked simple compared to the colorful robes and strange armor of the aliens around him, but his eyes were steady and calm. Council Speaker Vextar rose from the highest seat. The spider-like creature had 8 arms and glowing red eyes. When he spoke, his voice echoed through the hall like metal scraping metal. The vote is complete, Vextar announced. All 734 species have voted. The decision is unanimous. Hyunsu felt his heart beat faster, but his face stayed calm. He had expected this. Humanity will be placed under complete quarantine, Vextar continued. All communication with Earth and human colonies is forbidden. All trade is stopped. All diplomatic contact ends today. A wave of clicking, buzzing, and strange sounds filled the hall as the aliens celebrated. The crystalline delegate Kilmoth's body flashed bright blue with satisfaction. He had pushed hardest for this decision. The humans have shown themselves to be too aggressive. Kilmoth's voice rang like broken glass. They expand too fast. They ask too many questions. They do not respect our ancient ways. Other voices joined in agreement. The Nexari trademasters complained about human shipping routes. The Zephyrian said humans interfered with their communication networks. The Veltari farmers claimed humans gave them technology they did not ask for. Hyun-Soo listened to it all. Then he asked for permission to speak one last time. The hall grew quiet. I understand your decision, Hyun-Soo said, his voice carrying clearly through the massive space. But I want to give you one warning. Some aliens laughed. Others made angry sounds. You think you know what humans do in this galaxy? Hyun-Soo continued. You see our ships, our colonies, our traders, but you do not see the real work we do. More human arrogance, hissed a snake-like delegate from the back rows. Hyun-Soo smiled sadly. In 24 hours you will understand what I mean. You have No idea what you are about to lose. Vextar struck his metal staff against the floor. The sound boomed through the hall. The human speaks lies to scare us. The quarantine begins now. All communication networks will block human signals. All trade routes to human space are closed. Hyun-soo bowed politely to the council. I hope I am wrong, he said quietly. For all our sakes. 2 robot guards escorted Hyun-soo from the hall. As he walked, he could hear the aliens celebrating behind him. They thought they had solved their human problem. The communication blackout began exactly at 14 QAM Galactic Standard Time. Across the galaxy, all official channels to human space went silent. The great network that connected thousands of worlds simply stopped accepting signals from Earth and human colonies. On Nexus Station, alien technicians watched their screens as the last human messages disappeared. Green lights turned red as communication. Links shut down one by one. The head technician, a floating creature with tentacles, checked his instruments twice to make sure the blackout was complete. All human signals blocked, he reported to his supervisor. The quarantine is working perfectly. But in the lower levels of the station, strange things began to happen. A water recycling plant started making odd noises. The gravity generators flickered for just a moment. A food processing unit displayed an error message that no one could read. The maintenance chief, a crab-like alien named Paktel, frowned at his diagnostic screen. Several systems were showing minor problems, but nothing serious. He decided to check them later. Meanwhile, on the agricultural world of Veltar, Farmer Nulvash was enjoying his evening meal when his communication device beeped. He expected a message from his cousin, but instead saw a string of error codes he had never seen before. Technical problems, he muttered, and went back to his food. But in the vast farming complexes outside the city, automated systems were running, diagnostic checks. For the first time in months, they could not connect to certain data networks. Warning lights began blinking in empty control rooms. On the trading station of Nexari Prime, shipping coordinator Thexnol was reviewing tomorrow's cargo schedules when his assistant rushed into his office. Sir, we have a problem with the navigation computers, the assistant said, his blue skin turning pale with worry. What kind of problem? Thexnol asked. They keep trying to connect to some external network, but the connection is blocked. The navigation software is running backup calculations, but they are slower and less accurate. Thexnol waved a hand dismissively. Must be related to the human quarantine. The computers will adapt. Continue with the schedules. But 17 minutes later, the first cargo ship to leave Nexari Prime sent an emergency signal. Their navigation system had calculated a jump route that took them dangerously close to a black hole. Only quick thinking by the pilot saved the ship and crew. Similar problems began appearing across the galaxy, but they were small at first. A communication delay here, a navigation error there, a system running slower than usual. Most aliens did not notice these tiny problems. On Earth, Director Wu Jin sat in the Human Coordination Center watching screens full of data. His team monitored communication networks across the galaxy, even though humans could no longer send messages through official channels. The blackout is complete, reported his assistant Yoon Seo. All official networks are blocking our signals. And the hidden monitoring systems? Wu Jin asked. Still working. We can watch what happens, but we cannot interfere. Wu Jin nodded. He had hoped the Galactic Council would not go through with their threat, but humans had prepared for this possibility. Begin Phase 1 monitoring. Record everything. Sir, should we try to contact them through unofficial channels? Asked another technician, Jun Seo. Some of our people are still on alien worlds. No, Wu Jin said firmly. If they want silence, we give them complete silence. No contact, no help, no interference. They made their choice. On the screens around him, Wu Jin could see the first signs of problems starting across the galaxy. Small system failures, navigation errors, communication delays. Most aliens would think these were coincidences or minor technical problems. But Wu Jin knew better. For decades, humans had quietly helped maintain systems across the galaxy. They had fixed problems that other species did not even know existed. They had written software patches, designed backup systems, and provided technical support that kept civilization running smoothly. Now that help was gone. Wu Jin looked at the clock. Less than 1 hour had passed since the quarantine began. Already, 47 minor system failures had been detected across 12 different star systems. By tomorrow, those small problems would become bigger ones. How long do you think it will take? Yun Seo asked quietly. Wu Jin considered the question. The Galactic Council thinks humans are the problem. Soon they will learn that humans were the solution. He turned to address his entire team. Everyone listen carefully. What happens next will be difficult to watch. The galaxy is about to experience serious problems, and many innocent beings will suffer. But we cannot help them until they ask for our help. And if they do not ask? Jun Seo wondered. Wu Jin's expression was sad but determined. Then we build a better galaxy without them. As the hours passed, the problems grew worse. By 20 or Galactic Standard Time, over 300 system failures had been recorded. By midnight, the number reached 1,000. The Galactic Council had gotten their wish. Humanity was silent. But the galaxy was about to become very loud indeed.